For decades, the human race has looked at the night sky and asked one fundamental question: where is everybody? This conflict, the undeniable enormity of the universe versus the total lack of evidence for extraterrestrial life, is known as the Fermi Paradox. We know there are up to 400 billion stars in our galaxy and 7 septillion in the observable universe. Based on the mediocrity principle, Earth is likely not unique. Life should be common across these billions of habitable worlds. Yet, we hear nothing but the great silence. Some suggest we are alone, but a far more chilling possibility exists. What if the universe is crowded, but everyone is hiding? This leads to a terrifying hypothesis. Aliens aren't hiding from us, but from something else entirely. To understand why a civilization would hide, we must first look at the dark forest hypothesis. Popularized by Liu Cixin, this theory suggests that the universe is a dark forest filled with armed hunters stalking through the trees like ghosts. The hypothesis is built on the axioms of cosmic sociology. First, survival is the primary need of any civilization. Second, civilizations continuously expand, but the total matter in the universe remains constant. This creates a state of permanent resource scarcity. In this environment, any civilization encountered is an inevitable threat. Because the chain of suspicion makes it impossible to ever truly know another species' intentions, the only rational move is to strike first. In this sequential and incomplete information game, any civilization that reveals its location is considered an imminent threat and is destroyed by others. This leads to a secondary, perhaps more automated threat, the berserker hypothesis. Also known as the deadly probe scenario, this theory suggests that an ancient civilization may have released self-replicating von Neumann probes with a single mission: to systematically destroy any signs of emerging intelligent life. Unlike the dark forest, where civilizations hide out of mutual fear, the berserker scenario posits that the great silence is the result of an equilibrium condition, where life is killed shortly after it discovers radio technology. These probes are designed to gather resources on distant worlds to build more of themselves, potentially sterilizing the entire galaxy in a relatively short time frame. Some argue this is a more efficient insurance policy than waiting for a civilization to broadcast its location. However, what if the reason we see nothing isn't because of hostile hunters, but because of our own lasting human epistemological limitations? This solution, proposed by Vojislav Rakic, argues that our perception of reality is fundamentally flawed and anthropocentric. Anthropocentrism is the belief that humans possess a central value, or that our way of understanding phenomena is the only possible form. Rakic suggests that human epistemological capacities are so limited that we may be surrounded by entities we are incapable of perceiving. Think of a worm or a bug in a garden. It does not perceive humans as humans perceive themselves. A worm may experience the consequences of human behavior, its home may be destroyed, but it lacks the perceptive apparatus to understand what a human is. Similarly, humans may only perceive space in 3 dimensions and time in 1, while super-intelligent beings might exist in additional dimensions or parallel universes that surround us but remain unobservable. To these beings, we might be as irrelevant as bacteria, and their hiding is simply a result of them operating on a level of reality we cannot access. Another form of hiding involves moving away from the physical universe entirely, a concept known as the transcension hypothesis. This theory posits that sufficiently advanced civilizations inevitably transition from outward expansion to inward development. Through a process called stem compression, civilizations manipulate space, time, energy, and matter at increasingly miniaturized and efficient scales. Eventually, they may move their entire civilization into environments resembling black holes, which are optimal substrates for computation. From our perspective, they would simply vanish, their techno-signatures diminishing until they are effectively invisible. They aren't hiding out of fear, but because inner space is infinitely more productive than the cold, vast expanse of the galaxy. Alternatively, they might be hiding in time through the aestivation hypothesis. This theory suggests that civilizations might choose to hibernate until the far future when the universe is cooled. Computation produces heat, and in our current hot universe, high-level computation is expensive. By waiting for a colder cosmic era, a civilization could potentially achieve a 10 to the 30 multiplier of achievable computation. They are not dead, but patiently waiting for future eras, making them currently unobservable to us. If the universe is indeed a dark forest filled with hostile hunters and automated probes, it raises a haunting question. Why are we still here? If Berserker probes were real and efficient, they should have destroyed Earth 4.2 billion years ago the moment organic life appeared. This creates the inverse Fermi Paradox. The fact that we still exist suggests that the galaxy is not as hostile as we fear, or that some mechanism prevents unilateral aggression. One explanation for our survival is the Hobbesian trap, where mutual distrust leads to destruction. However, researchers Karim Jabari and Andrea Esquella argue that observing even one nearby advanced civilization would suggest that unilateral aggression is rare. If many civilizations existed and were hostile, we would have been hit by a kinetic impactor, a mass accelerated to a fraction of the speed of light, long ago. The fact that we haven't suggests a focal point of peace has been established. Civilizations may have reached a risk-dominant equilibrium, where they choose not to attack because the risk of retaliation or revealing their own location is too high. In this view, they aren't hiding from us because we are a threat, but because they are maintaining a fragile, silent peace. In Liu Cixin's narrative, humanity attempts to navigate this dark reality through radical defensive strategies. One such strategy is the use of sophons, 11-dimensional supercomputers the size of a proton. These are used by the Trisolarans to enact technological strangulation on Earth, interfering with subatomic experiments to prevent humans from ever developing the technology needed to threaten their invaders. This highlights a real-world strategic concern. Rather than restricting machinery, one can hide or restrict the availability of knowledge to remain safe. To counter this, humans appoint wall facers, individuals who develop secret strategies entirely within their own minds. Because the sophons can spy on all communication but cannot read human thought, the wall facer is the only one who can plan a counterattack without the enemy knowing. This emphasizes the strategic value of secrecy and central authority in a universe where everything else is transparent to the hunters. In Liu Cixin's narrative, humanity attempts to navigate this dark reality through radical defensive strategies. One such strategy is the use of sophons, 11-dimensional supercomputers the size of a proton. These are used by the Trisolarans to enact technological strangulation on Earth, interfering with subatomic experiments to prevent humans from ever developing the technology needed to threaten their invaders. This highlights a real-world strategic concern. Rather than restricting machinery, one can hide or restrict the availability of knowledge to remain safe. To counter this, humans appoint wall facers, individuals who develop secret strategies entirely within their own minds. Because the sophons can spy on all communication but cannot read human thought, the wall facer is the only one who can plan a counterattack without the enemy knowing. This emphasizes the strategic value of secrecy and central authority in a universe where everything else is transparent to the hunters. In the extreme version of this defense is the sword holder, a single person entrusted with the power of mutually assured destruction, or MAD. The sword holder's job is to hold the trigger to broadcast the locations of both Earth and the alien world, ensuring that if one is attacked, both are destroyed by a third party in the dark forest. This strategy relies entirely on credibility. The enemy must believe the sword holder is jaded or monk-like enough to actually pull the trigger. When a less credible, more empathetic sword holder takes over, the deterrence fails, leading to immediate attack. Finally, there's the cosmic safety notice. This is a signal designed to tell the rest of the universe that a civilization is not a threat. However, a true safety notice isn't just a broadcast. It requires hobbling one's own capabilities. This might involve slowing down the speed of light within a solar system so that no information or spacecraft can ever leave it, effectively locking the civilization in a black domain. To prove you are not a predator, you must prove you can never leave your cage. In conclusion, the Great Silence may not be a sign of an empty universe, but a sign of a complex and dangerous one. Whether aliens are hiding from hostile hunters in the dark forest or from their own sequential and incomplete information traps, their silence is a rational response to the laws of physics and survival. We might be failing to see them because of our limited cognitive dimensions, or because they have moved into inner space to maximize their existence. As we continue to broadcast our presence into the stars, we are like foolish birds chirping in a forest full of hawks. If the Berserker hypothesis is wrong and we are still here, it may be because we are the first to reach this stage in our neighborhood, or because there is a fragile piece we don't yet understand. Ultimately, our theories about alien behavior are mirrors of our own human nature. They reflect our fear of the dark and our capacity for violence.
but also our deep curiosity to reach out despite the risks. As we look to the stars, we must decide if we want to stay silent and safe or roll the dice for a more meaningful and rich existence in the cosmic forest. Until we make contact, we can only stay thoughtful and stay curious, wondering if the eyes watching us from the trees are as terrified as we are.